Ross.
The question being now put.
I call Pene Henare.
Tēnā koe e te hea mana. Mō tō mātauranga te tohu nei ki ki tēnei mema kia tū ki te tuku atu I oku whakaaro mō tēnei take. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and as a Māori speaker and being Māori Language Week, I thought the House might be interested in knowing that the word haki is flag. But the word haki is a festering sore, and that's actually what this bill is. That's exactly what it is. And no matter what band-aid you put over it, no matter what medicine you rub on it, it's just going to keep on festering. Mr. Chair, members across the House also mentioned about polls. And they're talking about public opinion and how they don't just have a knee-jerk reaction to whatever poll might come out. Well, as far as I understood it, you needed a poll to fly a flag. And what's happening here is that Mr. Bishop might laugh, but it was actually him who said it, Mr. Chair. But you need a poll to fly that flag. And what our polls are telling us, and it's not just the Labour Party polls, it's not just the New Zealand First polls. I'm sure everybody in this House has heard of the New Zealand Herald. It's telling us that there is definitely not an appetite for us to change the flag. I'm also reminded, Mr. Chair, a sense of ceremony. And Mr. Bishop, in previous exchanges in this House, has always mentioned about how important ceremony is. And it can't be lost when we're looking at processes moving forward. And I make particular reference to the actual ceremony and process of voting. Well, the same thing applies to this, Mr. Chair. When I think about some of the contributions this evening around the ceremony of our flag, and what it means to our Defence Force, it's already been highlighted, and I do not want to draw the point out. However, that ceremony is important to our people and the people who certainly speak to me in my electorates. Mr. Chair, this morning I sat on the plane returning from Tāmaki Makaurau, the great electorate of Tāmaki Makaurau. Last night I attended a funeral, and at that funeral, in fact, we flew the New Zealand flag. And everybody rose and acknowledged it. This morning on the plane down, I sat next to a defence personnel. He too had a flag on his sleeve. The importance of our flag cannot be understated. Now, it might cause a few members in the House to scratch their head when I also want to echo the words of the Honourable Trevor Mallard. It's not that I'm against changing the flag. I'll be honest with you here. In a discussion with my son, who's 19 years old, he actually says to me, "Dad, I don't think the flag best reflects us moving forward." And I take that point. However, I still consider myself pretty young, and I got to see my grandfather raise that flag day every morning and every evening take that flag down. It means something to me. So I'm a little bit torn on that. However, what I'm not torn on is the actual process. It's been stated, referendums, referenda, people, the New Zealand public aren't quite as smart as we think we are. Well, the government will tell us that there's confusion. When you see our flag and the Australian flag together, people are often confused. Well, let me talk a little bit about ceremony. When the Olympics happens, we know that the first country out is Greece. From there, it goes through an alphabetical process. Australia is a far way ahead in terms of the alphabetic process than New Zealand. Secondly, overseas in the State Department building, look, you're talking about confusion. It's actually not that confusing. Overseas, we went to the State Department not last week, and same thing. All the flags were lined up in alphabetical order. There was certainly no confusion from the national members who were a part of the delegation, as well as the Labour members. Mr. Chair, Another Māori word for us in the vocab today is tohu tohu. Tohu tohu is to direct, and that's exactly what these referendums will do. What it won't do is allow our country the first question, which is, do we want to change the flag? What it's actually doing is it's directing us, it's channeling us, it's funneling us into manipulating us into making a forced decision, and I don't think that that's fair. I think our people deserve more. What it also does, Mr. Chair, is it talks about how many young people have engaged, and my esteemed colleague here, Sue Moroney, mentioned how kids were instructed to make this a project in the schools. I'm concerned that as a result, Mr. Chair.
Call Jami-Lee Ross.
That the question be now put.
I call Sir William Seal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.